Hi there, it's Nicole from Mama Elephant, and today I have a set of 5 thank you cards featuring the new Sunday Sentiments stamp set, and then the images are from the Sunday Strolls stamp set. And I created a bright set of note cards. They're all similar, just the coloring is a little bit different, or the colors are a little different on the images. To create the borders along the bottom, I'm using the Misty Stamping Tool with 5 colors of bright Avery Elle cards. These are their folded note cards. And the Misty makes it easy because I can stamp in the exact same place on all 5 of these cards, or however many you want to make. So it makes it really great for creating multiples of cards. Now, I originally thought I would do tone on tone, and I decided right away that was going to be too light because I know I'm going to be stamping my Sunday Sentiments scripty thank you border in black, and I just felt like the black on top of that really light border wasn't going to work. So without moving my stamp at all on the Misty Stamping Tool, I'm going to ink it up with some black dye ink now, flip it over and press it again, and it's going to stamp in the exact same place, therefore covering up what I originally stamped. So I have that great black border. I'm going to go ahead and do that for all 5 note cards here. I'm lining them up in the exact same place, using the magnets to hold down my note card, press that stamp. The great thing about the Misty is if you don't get a really great stamped image the first time, sometimes borders can be a little tricky. You can always re-ink it and stamp it again before you move anything, and it's going to stamp in the exact same place. It just makes creating cards like this so much simpler. Now, you definitely don't have to have one of these tools to create these cards. You could just as easily stamp these borders using your traditional acrylic blocks, and it would be just fine. I'm lining up that thank you border now where I want it to stamp. I'm going to kind of make sure I have it positioned exactly where I want it to go. Sometimes these long skinny border stamps can be just a tiny bit tricky. I'm going to make sure I take my time, get it lined up, because this is where it's going to stamp all 5 times. Go ahead and shut the door on the Misty and press it in place to pick it up. Make sure my card is positioned exactly where I need it to go. Ink it up and then press that right down. And there is my first border right above that stamped lined border. I should probably mention too that the line stamp along the bottom of the card, the stripes, is from the Mama Elephant Boutique Borders stamp set. I'm going to go ahead and stamp all 5 of these thank you greetings here. Now, I'm only using one of the Sunday Sentiments on the front of the card. I am also going to be stamping on the inside of the card with the additional phrases that come in this stamp set. There's lots and lots of really great greetings and sentiments that come in this stamp set. You can mix and match. There's 3 different scripty style border greetings, and then all kinds of different phrases and sentiments that you can either add right next to this greeting or on the inside of your card. I decided to try a little no line coloring today, so I'm used what I had at home, and I'm using the Antique Linen Distress ink to stamp my images. It's a pretty light ink. And then I'm going to color in all of these cute little girls with Copic markers, just changing the colors of the outfits and nothing else. So the skin and hair, the heart on the dress, and the shoes are all going to be stamped exactly the same. The numbers of Copic markers that I'm using to color are all going to be shown in the upper left corner of the screen to make it easy if you want to make notes or duplicate this kind of look. I'm using a little R20 for the cheeks, then E00, E11, and E13. For the pink dress, I'm using RV13 and RV25. I would say it's definitely a little more challenging to do the no line coloring. And I also think that it doesn't look very good until you get a little further into it, if that makes sense. Like, the more you get colored on the image, the better it starts to look. At first, I wasn't so sure about my grand plan here to do the no line coloring, but as I got the little girls colored, I really think they turned out cute, and it was definitely something I will try again. Lots and lots of practice just with any type of coloring is definitely, I think will definitely help. Go ahead and color in her dress. For the shirt underneath here, I'm using Y11 and Y08. My Y11 needs a refill, so it isn't coloring the best, and I switched to a different color when using yellow here a little bit later on. I'm going to go ahead and blend my Y11 and Y08. That tends to be the yellow combination I use a lot for lighter yellow, and so I need to get that refill for the Y11. For the hair, I'm doing E55 and E47. This will be the same for all 5 of the girls. Very, very simple. There's not a lot of hair showing, so I definitely didn't want to go overboard here. I'm just very, very carefully feathering in that hair. I went back over a couple places with the E55. For the boots, again, all 5 are going to be exactly the same with C8 and C5. I kept to about only 2 colors per area. Sometimes I shade with 3. For this, I decided to go pretty simple and just stick with 2 for the most part. I'm going to quickly color in the puppy. The puppy is going to be colored in the same 2 colors, E55 and E31, for all 5 cards. There are a couple of puppy images as well as a cat that you could definitely switch them up if you were creating a similar set of note cards. I kept it pretty simple here by only doing the same image over and over. Once I had the puppy colored in, I did go in and add some little dots like I like to do. I don't think they showed up quite as well as they do on some images, simply because I only stuck to these 2 colors, but I think it adds just a tiny bit of texture to the image. I didn't want to go overboard. They're pretty small. Now I die cut these because I was anxious to see how it was going to look, and then I'm using a black gel marker for the eyes, the nose, and the buttons on the dress there. So there's what the cards are going to look like. I'm going to go back and color in the rest of the outfits now so you can see what color combinations I used. Again, the skin and hair is going to be the same for all of them, and the shoes, so I'm not going to show that again. For the orange dress, I did a tone on tone here for my cards. So the orange dress is going to go on the orange card, the pink on the pink card, and so on. I'm using YR04 and YR09. These are kind of my go-tos for a nice orange color. I kind of switched over before I did the hat to do the heart on the dress with R24 and R46. Again, that is not going to change throughout the cards. However, I did leave that in since it was part of the outfit. Go ahead and color in the hat. I kind of like to trace the area since it's a no line coloring and the line's so light with the darker color, and then shade in with my lighter color. It helps me stay on the lines a little better, I think. Here's a little yellow shirt underneath the orange dress. And then I'm doing the contrasting stripe on the hat and the top of the hat as well. For the green dress, I did use 3 colors, and I think it was almost too much. I think the colors bled a little bit, especially because I used the YG21, and so I probably wouldn't use that if I was doing it again. I like these 3 colors together, but that YG21 definitely makes the colors bleed a bit. And that was a little bit of a problem on the dress. I was able to rectify that, but it's still it bled into where the heart goes. So I'm using YG17, 25, and 21. These are kind of my go-tos for a nice bright grass green color. And I worked to get those blended out. And I think it's just because it's such a small area that it gave me trouble. This is for the shirt underneath, I'm doing aqua with BG 11, 13, and 18. And then I kind of had to fix the dress a little bit. Go ahead and color in the brim of the hat. And for the heart, I went ahead and colored that in, and the reds bled a bit because the greens weren't dry. So I kind of had to wait for that to dry a little bit and then go back over it and kind of draw the heart back in, if that makes sense, with my darker color, the R46, and it ended up fixing it just fine. While I have my aqua colors out, I'll go ahead and skip to the aqua card and color in that with my BG11, 13, and 18. I went ahead and colored in the eyes and the buttons on the dresses too. I think that really makes a huge difference. I did go in with a Copic multi-liner before coloring the faces and add the black eyes just so that I could really so I didn't cover them up too much so that I couldn't find them later, if that makes sense. The shirt for underneath the aqua dress is going to be colored with RV13 and RV25. I kept to the same colors throughout the card creation here. I just used one of the other dress colors for the shirt color underneath the dress. Now this is that Y11 that is definitely dried out. I was having too much trouble with it, so I changed rather to Y13, and that's really going to make a huge difference. I'll go ahead and go in with my Y08 and trace the outline of the hat and the dress here, and then I can go back and blend and shade in with the Y13. And that is going to be so much easier because this marker is definitely not too dry. Get that all blended out. For the shirt, I'm going to go with my greens, and I'm only going to stick with YG17 and YG25. And then I will color in the little heart, and all of my little girls will be colored in, and then I colored in the rest of the dogs as well and die cut all of those with the coordinating Sunday Stroll Creative Cuts dies. On the insides of all of my cards, I am going to use a greeting from that Sunday Sentiments stamp set. I'm going to ink all these up and stamp the inside of each of the cards. I kind of thought I might switch up the sentiments and do more than one, but in the end I decided to just stick with the one I was using, and then I'm taking one of the teeny tiny hearts from the stamp set, and I'm going to stamp that right below the stamped greeting on the inside of all 5 cards. I like that little finishing touch. It coordinates well with the outside of the card that has that cute heart in the scripty font. Once I have all of my cards stamped with the greeting on the inside, I am going to take a 1/2 inch corner rounder and round the corners of all 5 cards. I started with only the upper corners, and then I decided I didn't like that, so I went ahead and went back and did the bottoms of all of the cards as well, and I'm really glad that I did because I liked how it looked with all 4 corners rounded. It gives a nice finished look, especially for a simple design like this where there's not a ton of extra things going on. Thanks for watching this Mama Elephant video featuring the new Sunday Sentiments stamp set, as well as the Sunday Stroll stamp set and coordinating dies. The supplies I've used to create this card set are listed and linked below the video on YouTube. Please subscribe for weekly card making and stamping videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.